I'm Logan Webb, and you're listening to Torture Cast.
Swinging. There's a high drive. Deep into left center field. It's on its way. Adios! Pelota!
Let's go, Giants! SF Giants! Let's go, Giants! SF Giants!
A grand slam for Buster Posey's good friend.
A podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Chad King, Eric Nathanson, and Willie Dills. This is the Torture Cast.
It's Thursday, August 14th, 2025, and this is episode 321. 321. Boy, that's about what has happened to the Giants right now. It's a bit of a countdown to the end of their season. This is episode 321 of the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the plummeting San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Chad King, and yeah, look, we're not going to try and beat a dead horse here. I mean, the Giants are dead. They look like a horse at this point, Mr. Ed, I guess. But yeah, Eric Nathanson and I are here to talk about it, to maybe make you feel a little bit better about things. Then again, maybe not. I don't know how this podcast is going to go, but how are you, Eric? And hopefully you're doing better than the Giants.
I'm laughing my butt off at your final countdown because immediately in my head I hear ba-na-na-na, ba-na-na-dun-dun, and the final countdown.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Yeah, we're done. That's it. Bye.
It's so funny. Like, that was pretty. It's good to laugh because, I mean, the Giants are, let's just be honest, pathetic right now. They have been for a few weeks, and there's nothing else to do but laugh and look at the future because there's no point in getting upset about the way the team is playing at this point in the year anymore. I mean, there's things to get upset about, but there's no chance at the playoffs. We put them to we had the funeral 2 weeks ago, and it hasn't gotten any better. No. So it's nice, it's freeing. I'm in a good mood tonight, so I think we can power through this patheticness that has been the most recent homestand for the Giants.
I have an exclusive recording from Bob Melvin, secretly recorded from the clubhouse the other day.
You can all go to hell.
I mean,
you should look in the mirror.
I know, right? That's something that we'll talk about tonight. But yeah, let's talk about the home field disadvantage the Giants are experiencing right now. They've completely forgotten how to win at home. I mean, they're bad enough, but they came back off of the roadie going 4-2. That's when we recorded last week, going, all right, well, maybe things will turn around a little bit. And that was 4-2 since the second trades that they did on the trade deadline day, July 31st. Then they won their first game back home, and that had broken an 8-game losing streak. And now suddenly they had won 5 out of 7. And they were 5-2 since the trades of Mike Yastrzemski and company. And you're like, all right, that's fine. Maybe they can make a little fun run here. Maybe they can try and finish at 500 or a little above. Let's do it. And they just fell right down the stairs, losing the next 2 to the lowly Nationals, and then absolutely getting trounced by the now first place, by the way, San Diego Padres. They got outscored, 20-3 by the Padres and 32-10 on the entire homestand. And by the way, remember the last homestand was the first time they went winless. They were 0-6, and then they followed that up with a 1-5 homestand. And now they've lost a total of 13 out of their last 14 home games. 1-13, Eric. Like, I can't even... This is not the bottom of the barrel baseball team that we're talking about, but they are starting to play like that. And it concerns me because even your average baseball team does not lose 13 out of 14 at home. And this has really given me serious concerns, not only because of all the trades and all the mental mistakes we've been seeing lately and the physical mistakes, that this team might not even be in the realm of 500 by the end of the season. I mean, they might finish in the low 70s or, God forbid, the high 60s. I mean, this could be one of their worst seasons in quite some time if it continues.
Well, they've fallen into a third-place tie with the Diamondbacks. This is a historically bad. I'm just looking at the numbers of this last homestand. They hit 209 as a team. Their OPS was 548. Those are not good numbers. They hit 4 homers in 6 games. I'm sure the other teams hit more. And the Padres series, they didn't look like they belonged in the same league. And I can see how the Padres caught the Dodgers. Padres are a good team. Like every time I see the top 4, 5, 6 in that order, I'm like, damn, there's not a hole there. But like you said, the Giants are playing so bad, but we don't really feel like they're this bad of a team. This is the maddening part about all of this: is there is talent there. Willie Adames has shown flashes at times. Ramos has shown flashes at times. Devers, I think Devers is fantastic. I cannot wait to see him over the next few years. He's finally figuring out how he can hit it to left field and get homers instead of banging it off the monster. And I think we'll see a lot of that from him going forward. But like, there's talent. Webb is talented. Ray is talented. Even Dominic Smith on his, like, he had that 13, 14 game hitting streak or whatever it was. There's talent. Jung Hoo Lee, if he continues to go the other way, talent, talent, talent. So it's so maddening that they are so bad, and it's so boring. It's so basic. For the first time all season, yesterday, when the Padres scored 7 runs in the second inning, I turned off the game. I had not turned off a game early all season long, and that was the first time I did it. As soon as it was 7-0, I'm like, great. I don't need to sit here listening to Kruk and Kaib talk about how, well, maybe they can make a comeback, maybe they can do this, maybe they can do that. I was done. I'd had enough. And it was the first time of a game that I sat down to watch or even had on at work that I turned off early. I may have missed 1 or 2 games this year. I've seen a lot of games this year because of just circumstance, and to finally turn one off, it felt satisfying, but also very, very sad at the same time. That's what they've turned me to. I'm willing to turn off the game, and it's just maddening.
We've been talking for a while now how bad they've been since the Giants were tied for first place with the Dodgers back on June 13th. But this 13 out of 14 streak they are on for home games is historic. They have never had this stretch of this low of a performance in San Francisco history. The last time they did this in New York was 1940. They did lose 11 in a row at home and 13 out of 14. However, after that stretch of 14 games, they won the next 2 and 4 of the next 5 games. So if the Giants lose their next home game, that'll be like the worst stretch of home baseball the Giants have ever had in their history, which is insane. The White Sox, of course, have them beat last year. They lost 27 of 28 at home. A little insane there. So I don't think the Giants are in danger of that. But I think Willie's going to be calling it.
Basically 2.5 full months also.
Yeah. And, I don't think they have to worry about that. But the issue, again, is
I really do.
The Giants, have been ahead of the Padres most of the season until most recently. And now they're, a full 6 games up on the Giants, or 10 games, up on the Giants right now. This is really interesting. We know that they've really collapsed in the second half the last several years, but KMBR put a little graphic together, which illustrates that point. We weren't smoking crack. We were right about this. In 2022, their high water mark was 10 games above 500 on June 18th, 37 and 27. They finished at 81 and 81. 2023, their high water mark was July 18th, 54 and 41, 13 games above 500.
13.
They finished 4 games under 500. I remember that August collapse. That August collapse was just horrific. Then last year,
his job.
It did. Then last year on August 10th, they were a meager 3 games above 500. So I wouldn't necessarily call last year a collapse, because they ended up 2 games under 500, so they played 5 games under since August 10th. And now this year, of course, the June 13th, the day they were tied with the Dodgers, they were 12 games above 500 at 41 and 29. They have played 15 games under 500 since that point, now 3 games underwater. They still have 41 games left. They still have a quarter of a season left, and that's why I'm worried. Like, if they play another, they go 15 and 25 or something like that. I mean, they could finish with like 69, 70, 71 wins. That's not good. That's not good at all.
No, I mean, I am the man who did predict they'd finish under 500 this season. I just did not expect to see it in such an accelerated fashion. Just having a collapse like this in this quickly in real time. I mean, I don't even feel like they're going to beat the Rays this weekend. You know what I mean? Like, I have no confidence going into any games. It's weird how specifically at home they just can't hit the ball. And I don't know if it's coaching philosophy, and I know we're going to get into some of that, but I don't know if it's just the dimensions, and they're not even like getting screwed all the time on the balls that they have hit and play. Like their BABIP, I just saw it at home, is only, let's see, the last 7 days. Their BABIP was 266. So it's not like they were getting robbed left and right when they hit 209.
Mhm.
So it's not a ton of like atom balls or anything like that. It's just been a horrible, poor approach, and they're unable to string together any rallies. I mean, how many times do you watch a game and they get like runners on first and second with one out or no outs, and you're like, all right, how are they going to only score one or none right now? I mean,
Yeah.
it's such a gutting feeling as a fan to think that way when you're watching a game, and that's what's got to change. They just need to be able to play exciting baseball, do the things, put the ball in play. That's been the biggest gripe for me is they are just looking at pitches down the middle. Patrick Bailey the other day, my God, it was so bad watching him take all those pitches. Like, you're the catcher, man. You should have the best feel for what the strike zone is. I know you're standing a foot and a half to the right, but know the strike zone. It was just awful. So, like, the whole approach has just looked awful lately by the entire team, and I don't think it's explainable except for coaching. I mean, that seems to me to be the number one problem with the San Francisco Giants right now.
I had seen Patrick Bailey take those at various points, but someone put together a nice little montage of all 3 strikeouts from the game the other day. All 3 were full counts, and
All the same pitch.
I know, and I know maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I swear to God, his body language was, "I want to walk," and
Yes.
he didn't even flinch at those pitches, and he just walked away like, yeah, that was a strike,
And they're in his happy zone. When his back goes through the lower part of the zone there, he usually connects. Why are you taking those pitches, Patrick?
Are you guys talking about Patrick Bailey right now?
Yes, we
Yes.
are, sir.
All I had to hear was he didn't even flinch at those pitches. Yeah, no. Frustrating,
That was
man.
so ugly the other day. Yeah, that's where we're at right now. We really just kind of got into it, talked about how historic this is, but frustrated. I mean, that's where we are as fans.
All right, guys, I only have. Well, actually, I could probably just hang out with you guys for like the whole rest of the show, but I shouldn't. I got to get back in. I'm at a pool league, but my mom went to the game yesterday.
Oh, that poor woman.
I know. And here's the thing. She asked me if I wanted to go, and I was like, not really.
Yeah.
And that's maybe the first time I've ever said that to my mom ever in my life about a Giants game.
And you were right.
I don't want to go. I really don't want to go. I feel like it's going to suck and I'm not going to have fun. Now, she was sitting in those really good seats and she had to watch the Giants lose 11-1. She told me she was surrounded by Padres fans who are having a great time, obviously, because now they're in first fucking place. Have you guys talked about that?
Yep.
But I told her when she got back, I was like, Mom, I'm so sorry. I really felt like I should have been there for her because at least I could have been like, well, that was really funny when Elliot Ramos spiked that ball into the fucking ground. I don't know, man. We're in a weird spot. And I'm not gonna stick around for very long. I'm gonna let you guys continue to, talk about the numbers and the analytics and the fucking. I know you have things up on your computer screens in front of you. I don't. I'm standing out here on Chestnut Street in San Francisco. By the way, the stomping grounds of Pat the Bat.
Really?
Send Pat the Bat back to Chestnut Street. Get him out of the fucking dugout. Get Bob Melvin out of the dugout.
Are there swingers clubs there? Because that's what he needs.
Dude, if there were, he would strike out.
I'm just saying, the man doesn't swing.
Here's the deal. We have a fucking team that is not built around our ballpark. We have a team that's built around putting all your weight on your back foot and elevating, and none of these guys can actually hit it out of the park. They just hit it to not even the fucking warning track, first of all. And then when they don't hit the ball, they just watch a fucking strike get down the middle with runners on first and second most of the time. So it's like I'm so sick of watching guys take walks and then nothing happens. Like it's unbelievable right now. And the thing is, I watched the Padres, which is kind of a team built around a couple of really good star players, and then a lot of guys who just put the ball in play, and guys who play baseball well, like in other respects. And then I watched the Giants not know how to play baseball well and not know how to put the ball in play. And we exist at fucking Oracle Park. Build this team around speed. Build this team around pitching. They tell us that we're built around pitching, but if that's the case, we need to score 3 runs at least, right? And then the other thing is we have like 5 designated hitters out on the field right now.
Yeah,
what the fuck? Why do we have 5?
Elliot Ramos is becoming the poster child for bad base running and bad defense.
We have a second baseman who should be a third baseman. We have a first baseman who's supposed to be a third baseman. We have a shortstop who doesn't know how to, I don't know, make a normal ass play. We have a right fielder who is a rookie, or it's Tyler Fitzgerald. We have a left fielder who doesn't even know how to play the outfield. And then we have Jung-Hoo Lee, who's actually pretty good. It's so fucking crazy. All right. Anyway, there you go. I told you guys that I had to call in because I had to say my piece.
Hey, man.
Oh, I feel like I just got it all off my chest.
Get that off your chest. Go back into the pool hall. Kick some ass. You let go of that negative energy.
Thank God
put
for
it into
you guys.
Winning your next game, match, whatever you call it.
Yeah. No. Thank you guys for being here for me because I needed you. All right. Before I leave, I do have some good news. Tomorrow, I go to set up the bar at my brand new place in the Mission, which is a pool hall / craft cocktail bar, which I will be a bartender at. And we're
Nice. Did we lose me or did we lose Willie?
I think we lost Willie.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we lost Willie.
That was abrupt.
That was. No, he's still there. He's still online, but I think he lost his connection. So I'm going to remove him and see if he comes back in or not. Well, that was a great Willie Dills Gregory, the OG, who started this podcast way back in 2011. Thursdays is pool night. So we knew that he may or may not be able to pop in, but I had some work stuff I had to take care of last night. So here we are tonight. That was a great little rant by Willie. But you know what? We're starting to hear it from other people. This is, now I know he's a homer, but he's usually still looking for the bright side of things. This is on Sunday. This is Bill Lasky on KNBR.
The players that you watched today didn't give any effort to you. It's not Buster Posey's fault they didn't play well today. It's not Bob Melvin's fault. It's each one of these players that put that uniform on today and went out there and tried to play baseball. And it was pathetic. It was 100% pathetic. Let's go to David in Aptos.
We don't have David in Aptos, but I don't necessarily fully agree with not being any of Bob Melvin's fault, but when you break it down, it is true. Like, you can't blame Bob Melvin for Patrick Bailey taking 3 called third strikes on full counts and looking like he wanted to walk. You can't blame Bob Melvin for Elliot Ramos's, bad base running, and although maybe to some extent you can, but certainly not the bad throw in left field. And by the way, I have the audio of that as well, and you can just hear the frustration in Flem's voice.
The pitch. Machado blasts one to left field. Ramos is not going to catch it. One hop up against the wall. He'll play the Karen Barriant style, and then he throws to nobody. And Tatis, who had stopped at third, will come in to score. Ramos's throw, I don't know if he got caught in between and was thinking third and then picked up the cutoff man or what, but his throw spiked in the grass and started rolling towards left center field. Tatis scores at 6-0 Padres, and the Giants, it's just unraveling. Man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, unraveling. I think he finishes with man. Ugly.
Yep.
Yeah. Look, Flem is again one of those professional broadcasters who tries not to bring in too much of that negativity. They're of course positive when they want to be positive. When they give away their, they're singing the praises of the Giants, and when they make errors, they'll call out errors. But they usually don't elaborate like they do in these plays when they say it's unraveling if it's ugly. Oh, by the way, I think we have Willie back. Let's see. Hey, Willie, you there?
You're muted.
He's muted.
We're knocking it out of the park tonight. Oh,
all right. Okay. Well, sorry everyone for the technical difficulties. We'll see if we'll give him one more chance if he pops back in. But my point was, it's unusual for Dave Fleming to put any characterization on how ugly it is or how bad an effort is, and that was it right there. So it is getting really bad. Mike Kruko, I don't have the audio, went off about Patrick Bailey taking all those third strikes. He went on a rant. I mean, it's definitely getting to the point now where the players feel the pressure. They hear the boos at Oracle, which is just unusual. This is not Philadelphia. This is not New York. This is San Francisco. When we have losing streaks, people go, yay, nice try. We'll still support you. But you're starting to hear the boo birds. That you heard it right there on the Ramos play. So things are changing a little bit. The attendance hasn't plummeted quite yet. In fact, this is the highest the Giants' attendance has been in the last several years. But the players can't answer for it either. Willie Adames and Logan Webb this week were asked, what's going on? And they just kind of stood there in the locker room like a deer in headlights. And all they could say was, I don't know. And I kind of believe them. Like, I don't know what it may be, or they don't want to throw certain people under the bus. Maybe they've perceived a lack of effort from some individuals and they're not going to point them out. But I mean, Logan Webb himself, he's been struggling. He has a ERA over 5 over his last 9 starts. Willie Adames has cooled off. Matt Chapman and Willie Adames together, they struggle against lefties, by the way. They're 12-21 against left-handed starters this year, but 47-42 against right-handed starters. But you get Matt Chapman and Willie Adames, who are right-handed hitters who should be hitting lefties better. They have a combined .326 slugging percentage against lefties. Eric, come on. These are your 2-star hitters. This isn't...
Chapman himself lately has just not been hitting the ball.
This is not your 8th and 9th hitters. These are your meat hitters, and they have a .326 slugging percentage against lefties? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
So,
it's baffling. It really is.
Robbie Ray struggled a little bit recently, although I'm going to give him a pass because, he's been so solid most of the year. It's just everything seems to be unraveling, just like Flem said. Everything is hitting at once. Lack of situational hitting, base running errors, physical and mental errors on the field, not throwing to the proper base, taking called third strikes, repeatedly, striking out 15 times in a game, not being able to hit lefties, not stealing the base at all. Like, they don't even attempt stolen bases anymore. That's just not in their wheelhouse. So I'm not sure what they do at this point.
The Giants are dead last in stolen bases with 21 this season.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I didn't expect to find that so quickly. That surprised me. I think what happens when a team in any sport unravels. What's the part of the equation that doesn't seem to be holding it together anymore? And I think the answer is usually leadership, because good teams will have a camaraderie and play off each other well and pull their best talents out of each other, and it's usually because they have a good leader and a good supporting staff of leaders in place. And the San Francisco Giants, do not seem to have that with Bob Melvin. I think that we are finally seeing the reasons why Padres fans were fine when he left, why A's fans were frustrated that they could never get over the hump. It makes total sense to me now. I'm not sure he 100% is running the right ship right now, and I really hope that Buster Posey is seeing this, because you have to remember Bob Melvin was a Farhan hire. He was not Buster's hire. I believe Buster might have been in on the discussion on who to hire, but I don't think that, it came from Buster. So I'm really hoping Buster can look at the end of the season, clean house, and say, okay, it's my turn to start with my crew, and we're going to do this. And if that crew can take the mindset of a Buster Posey, who was a fantastic leader, the Giants could be on a better path. But I really think it all comes from the top right now. That's where I agree with you that the one thing I disagree with Lasky was that none of it is on Melvin. No, I think a lot of it's on the players, a lot of it's on Melvin, and a little bit's on Buster. And I'm not even mad at Buster. He's new at this. Him and Menazen will be fine. So I think it's time to really, Bob Melvin, I think, is one of the key pieces that needs to be taken out of the equation.
He is not the best with the bullpen. We've talked about that before.
So bad.
Maybe the coaching aspect is not getting through to some of the younger players like Ramos, who keeps making these mistakes. Maybe he's not talking enough to Patrick Bailey when he sees him strike out 3 times on the full count, just looking. The other thing I've noticed is he's definitely not the type to flip the spread in the clubhouse, as far as I understand. We've certainly never seen him boil over or get frustrated. I doubt he has closed door meetings and has a F-bomb tirade with the players. But I'm not saying that a manager needs to do that. But at the same time, I do believe Bochy was known to do this. Bochy was cool, calm, and collected, but he knew how to light a fire under those players' asses. He would tear them a new one from time to time when they were in losing streaks or he saw bad play or whatever. His rants were pretty epic, and they were all closed doors, and a lot of the reporters weren't, necessarily reporting on exactly what was said because they tried to keep it away from the reporters. But Melvin just seems to, and Gabe Kapler, to be honest, was the same way too. Remember, that was one of his gripes that people didn't like about him, is that when the ship is sailing smoothly, I think both Bob Melvin and Gabe Kapler can be fine captains. It's like, yep, keep pointing in that direction. Everything's going great. Right. But once they start to go off course, to me, it's almost like they're like, hey, maybe you over there should pull on that line a little bit more to get us back. No, you don't want to? Okay. Well, how about you over here? Like, there might be some sort of timidity about this, or maybe this, handling them with kid gloves kind of thing. And I understand you want to respect veterans and players and not treat them like children. And I don't know what the solution is, but if I heard that Bob Melvin went on an epic tirade or tried to light a fire under their asses and it didn't work, I'd be like, look, he's trying different methods. He's trying to get them motivated. But if he's not doing anything of the sort, if it's just the status quo and he comes out for every single post-game presser and goes, yeah, we struck out a lot today. Yep, a few mistakes were made in the field. We got to clean those up. Yep, we got to get better in situational hitting with runners in scoring position. How many times can you hear that? Like, do something. It's like that meme with the guy, the stick. Do something, It's like, come on, man. Yeah. Instead of the Giants are like the meme with the guy putting the stick in the spokes of the bicycle.
And the bike, yep. Well, I mean, veteran leadership, they have it, but it's not providing the cohesion that you want. So that's why you look at the coaching staff. The approach at the plate is just absolutely horrible. It's like you said earlier. They're all just trying to lift and separate, and they all look for one specific pitch. Kruko talked about it in that radio hit, which is something that me and the guys in Giants Chatter have been talking about for a while. Is these guys, not every hitter, but most of the hitters are looking for one specific pitch, and they'll try to swing at that pitch only. So if they strike out looking, it's not that big of a deal because they didn't swing at something they couldn't, and that's too specific. You know, you need to be able to adjust in the middle of a count. You need to be able to decide, well, if this guy's going to stay away, maybe I'll go the opposite way. Do things in the moment instead of just having one set way to get into the box. And that's coaching. And to me, that's on Burrow completely. But Bob's letting that happen as well. And you know, it shows there's like no accountability. There's no accountability by Bob for Bob either. It's never his fault. It's the players didn't do this today. The players didn't do that today. It's never his fault. There's no accountability whatsoever of him. But there's also no accountability for the players from Bob. Like the one time we've seen the coaching staff scream at somebody was when Ramos ran through a stop sign. I think it was in Atlanta, and they were up huge at the time, and it just didn't seem like the right time to even do that message. It was just this, you know, decided we have to be old school and do it this way sort of thing. I don't think old school is what's working anymore. I don't think we need that anymore. We need to, you know, let hitters hit. Let them figure things out on their own. You know, like Willie even talked about, build the team better for the ballpark. And they're just that's part of what their problem is. And Melvin he's just, you're right. He's bad with the bullpen. You know, if the players continue to make mistakes, that's a reflection on coaching and accountability. And I think that's where my gripe comes totally down with on Melvin and the staff. There's just no accountability. There's no accountability when things go wrong, and they're not showing any sort of leadership to bring the players together in a way. Playing this bad at home is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. A team that has this much talent should not be going out night after night in their own home ballpark and putting up 2 runs and praying that they can hang on. And you got to change it. You know, I don't know who the answer is yet, but you got to change it. And heads need to roll is really where they're at. And I thought maybe Burrow would be fired soon, and they'd think he's the sacrificial lamb for now to shake things up. But I mean, I know the season's dead. You know the season's dead. If they let Burrow ride it out with Melvin, that means they knew the season was dead too, and they don't know what to do either. So I can't wait for Buster to be able to do that. The extension Melvin signed shouldn't mean a damn thing. I'm pretty sure. I think Kapler might have signed an extension before the season he got fired as well. Don't quote me on that, but it seems familiar. So just because a manager signed an extension doesn't mean that he won't get the axe. These teams will move on because. Yeah, they'll move on because they know money is in winning.
They have to honor.
Right. They know money is in winning. So if they have to buy it out, they'll pay that money because they know they'll make it 6, 7, 8, 9-fold if they have put a winning team on the field. Like they can't like the amount of fans that have been showing up to games. They can't like hearing things like my mom was surrounded by Padres fans. So the heads have to roll at the top. Bob Melvin, I want Buster to put his fingerprints on this team. September 28th can't come fast enough.
I mean, I want to see some positives here in the last quarter of the season, but I don't know how much we're going to see. One of the things that we actually were excited about, but we had some cautious justification, I guess, or cautious reasoning around it. They led the majors at the time in walk-offs at home. Obviously, you can't walk off on the road. And they have 9. They haven't had one in quite some time. Think about that, though, because they were pulling wins out of their asses. Not only the tight wins, but the walk-offs. And to think about how close they were to losing some of those games, things could be in a much worse situation right now. But we knew that if they didn't shape up their act, the luck's going to run out. And I think that's exactly what's happened. Because they do find themselves in some similar situations, maybe not the Padres series, because they were just absolutely spanked by the Padres. But in more recent games, where they're losing by 1 or 2 runs and they just can't seem to convert that, what you were referring to earlier, like bases loaded, 1 out, 2 runners on, no outs. They can't convert any runs because they're looking for walks or they're trying to hit the long ball and they're striking out. Those were the games early in the season in April and May that they were finding a way to win in the 9th inning or in extra innings. Now they're not. And part of that is luck and part of that is timing. And it's just, I think they've regressed to the mean, and maybe this is their true self. Not losing 13 out of 14 at home. I think that in itself is an anomaly, but I think just their level of play is not allowing for these miracle wins, kind of at the finish line. And now
they're not in position to do that right now. They're getting spanked.
They're getting, Padres spanked them, and even the Nationals kind of spanked them those last 2 games. They've been outscored, I had it here, by 58 runs since they were tied for first place in mid-June. They're 18-33 in that stretch. That's almost like 333 ball, dude. That's like really bad. That's under 400 ball. And they've lost 17 out of their last 24, which is even worse. Their home record now, because of this great 1-13 stretch that they're in, is now under 500. That's something I didn't think that would happen. They were 12 games or whatever it was above 500 at home. That was where their bread and butter was. That was kind of padding their record because they had a losing road, record. But that's completely evaporated, and rather quickly as well. So they'd actually have a losing record, not only overall, but both on the home and on the road. So the home field advantage is gone, statistically speaking. You brought it up. They hit 209 in this last homestand. They're just performing poorly for the good paying crowd at Oracle Park. And I think you're going to see a massive drop off in attendance in the next month here as we wrap up the season. And it's sad. I don't think their overall attendance is going to be lower than it was 2 years ago because they've had most of the season played already. But this is the trajectory that the Giants do not want to be heading towards, because I believe they're still ranked 6th in attendance right now in major leagues. While a couple of years ago they were 17th, so they're starting to slip, but they're coming back a little bit.
They've got a mixture of decent marquee series at home, and like this Rays series this weekend probably won't, maybe for that post-game concert on Saturday, that'll be a big deal. But like the next homestand, the Cubs come to town, and then Baltimore. So the Cubs will definitely draw good. Baltimore, that's not going to draw as well. After that, they have Arizona and the Dodgers in that homestand. The Dodgers will draw well. Arizona probably won't because it won't matter. But they're fine. This is where it's going to show. Their final homestand of the season, and this is how they end the season, with 3 at home against St. Louis and 3 at home against Colorado. Games that aren't going to matter. Mm-hmm. And so we could really see, aside from Willie Mack night, we could really see some horrible attendance that last weekend. And, you hope it's a motivating factor.
And the other thing that I noticed is the Giants have not had a winning month since April. April, they went 16-11. And that was their last winning month. In May, they were 13-14. In June, they were 13-14. July took a big dump, 9-15. And so far in August, they're 5-7. So, I mean, you kind of look at across the board there. You're like, God, crap. It's not like it's just recently, although that's where most of the losses are concentrated. It's really, they haven't played winning baseball since the very beginning of the season. They just had that nice big buffer at the beginning. That 8-1 start really helped them, and they've just fallen off the table, since April. But it's a tough thing to watch, Eric. We were interviewed by a good friend today. We might see some stuff later. I won't talk about any details, but one of the questions that I was asked was, is this still fun? Do you like doing this? Are you surprised you've gone this long? Is there a pride in being the longest, lasting Giants podcast that there is? And it was easy to talk about because I love doing this. You love doing this. Even when they're losing, we are. We could have mailed it in this week. They went 1-5 on the homestand. What the hell are we going to talk about?
We got Willie calling in to make sure his rant gets on record. Yeah. I mean, how do you not love that?
I love it, and we never want to be too negative Nancy for all of our listeners, but at the same time, we want to commiserate a little bit with you guys. And yeah, it is different from when the Giants were in the playoffs and winning World Series. There was an absolute euphoria and pride and a gleefulness that we brought to the airwaves, to the podcast, because it was so much fun to talk about. We still love the Giants. That we're not going anywhere. This is our 15th season of doing Giants, baseball on this podcast. It's a niche thing. We know we're not going to get 1 million listeners to this podcast. There's barely 1 million Giants fans in the world. We understand that. this is a labor of love. This is a labor of passion. But at the same time, we want to be able to bring to you guys, our honest opinions, what we think might be going on, suggested solutions. But also we're here to just, put an arm around your shoulder and go, hey, man, it's okay. It's baseball. Let's just try to ride this one out. Let's see what they can do with the young guys, or, here's some solutions we can think about, or whatever. So, it's quote more fun to do this podcast when they're winning, but Eric and I are still here, man. So we love the Giants, and we're not going anywhere soon. So even a few of you are listening now, which we know and we recognize, but it's the same thing as the Giants experiencing a lower attendance at Oracle Park. So yeah, it goes hand in hand. But man, it's really hard to watch. It's like watching your child stumble a little bit. You're like, man, come on, you're embarrassing me, dude.
Yeah, that second inning yesterday was that exact moment too of the season. That was like, okay, this inning encapsulates the San Francisco Giants of 2025. And it just absolutely felt that way when everything went wrong with the ball hitting the base and Ramos spiking it, and just dumbassery all around. It was just so absolutely frustrating. And you're like, yep, that's them in a nutshell. I mean, what are you going to do? Which is why we need to get together and be able to share some laughs over, some of the stuff that's going on surrounding the Giants and throughout the season. Because, we could sit here and analyze why, how Matt Chapman could, start hitting that high fastball. But, like, what's the point? It's not going to do him any good right now. It's not going to do the Giants any good right now. And so that's why we get the commiserate. But it's, it's like it's the go to the bar, with your buddies and vent about the team.
It's a little therapy, right? A little group therapy. That's what this is.
11 years, next year is going to be 12 years since the last championship. And it's starting to feel like a bigger gap of time now. It really is starting to feel like they won all 3 championships in a kind of another lifetime. I know. So it's really to the point where we'd like to see, we can't. Yes, I'm satisfied. If they don't win a World Series in the next, let's see, what are we at, 11? So in the next 39 years, I said I'd be fine. If they win one, they don't have to win another one for 50 years. They won 3, so I guess they get 150 years. But, there's truth to that, but there's truth to wanting to see them be competitive and truth to wanting to see them in the playoff mix. Because the only way you can ever win the championship is if you get in the freaking tournament. And they've been in the freaking tournament one time since 2016, and here we are in 2025.
That's
what 9
I was going to
years,
bring
one
up.
playoff appearance.
It's one thing that it's been 11 years since their last championship. That is exactly the number I was going to bring up because I was thinking about it on my drive home tonight. And I was like, well, they were in the playoffs in 2021 and 2016, and this is now 2025. Oh my God. You exclude 2016, so you include 2017 through 2025. That's 9 seasons. They've made the playoffs one time. And they were bounced in the first round, of course. That's bad, Eric. One time. And this is expanded wild card playoffs territory where like a third of the teams make the playoffs practically. And they can't crack that, but more than one time in 9 seasons. That's bad.
They're no better than the Pirates, than the Reds. You know what I mean? They're a middle of the pack National League club who seems to have more losing or close seasons than winning seasons. They're just like those other teams. They'd be like Seattle, but Seattle's figured out a winning formula lately over the last few years. Toronto even's figured out a nice winning formula. By golly, I love watching the Toronto Blue Jays. These guys, they put the ball in play. It's like what the Padres do. And they attack and they try to force the issue and stuff like that. They're my secret favorite team to watch right now on the side, the Blue Jays. After the Giants went to Toronto and I watched how they played, if I'm not doing anything and I see that there's a Jays game on, I immediately pop it on the screen because they're so fun to watch. I want to see the Giants take that kind of approach. I want to see them try to put the ball in play. That's what they need to be doing. It's ridiculous that the only year that they made the playoffs was a magical year. It was filled with stardust, and fairy tales and late night Lamont Wade Jr. and crazy things that happened that went their favor, but it still crapped out in the end, which is kind of typical what the Giants are right now. The last 9 years, they've crapped out.
Right. So I have a funny way of thinking about how a team should be making the playoffs or how frequently they should be making the playoffs. You look at the number of teams in the league and the number of playoff spots there are every year. And, you just look at that percentage. So in 2022, of course, Major League Baseball expanded to 12 teams, and it used to be 10. But you know what? For the sake of easy math, let's just keep it at 10, even though we know it's actually 12. 10 for the sake of this argument. 10 out of 30. That's 1/3. That's 33%. So on average, if you are an average team, you should be making the playoffs every 3 years. So in this 9-year stretch, the Giants should be making it for a third time. And they've made it once. So what that tells me is they are a below average team over the last 9 years. I don't think that's a surprise or anything like that. You look at their record and it's kind of floating around 500, most of those years. But the results are what matter, right? The playoffs are what matters. Where you end up in that hunt is what matters. And if you've made it only one time, when the expectation is an average of 3 times over that span, you're failing. You're absolutely failing. Yep. And so that's the way I look at it. Unlike, the Dodgers, who have made it basically every single year over those 9 years, they're 100%. So it's really frustrating. I don't, again, have a solution to this, but like I said before, we love the Giants, so we're going to keep going. And I know, spring, I hope spring's eternal. We're going to look forward to the off season and the hot stove and see how the Giants can reload for next season. They're going to have some good tools with Devers and Adames, and hopefully Chapman wakes out of this funk. You got Ray and Webb, and you got a lot of good pieces for this team, but the supporting cast
pretty decent bullpen still.
Yeah. The bullpen, of course, was number one for a good portion of the season, and then started slipping a little bit, and then they traded away Tyler Rogers and Camilo Duvall for obvious reasons, but. It's interesting.
Yeah, they haven't. Matt Gage, bright spot.
Yeah, by the way, I looked up how all of our Forever Giants are doing since the trade, since I did that last week. Mike Yastrzemski is only hitting $188 for the Royals with 2 bombs. Tyler Rogers is doing just fine, 6 innings, 1 earned run. So he's just cruising along. And Camilo Duvall has 5 innings and only 2 earned runs, so he's not horrible right now. But he has given up 5 hits and 5 walks in those 5 innings. So his whip is 10 right now, 2 for the Yankees.
And base runners are his kryptonite, so
yeah,
it's probably been shaky for those kind of.
Have fun, Yankees fans.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm kind of okay that Camilo Duvall isn't a Giant anymore.
Yeah, we don't have to stress about that anymore, thank God. All right, we're going to talk about injuries real quick. Matt Chapman's day-to-day. He wasn't in the lineup for Wednesday's game. Landon Roop is actually expected to come off the IL and start tomorrow night against the Rays, which is pretty cool. Eric Miller is on the 15-day IL. Gerard Encarnacion, of course, we knew that his hamstring blew, and that probably wasn't going to be a grade 1. In fact, it is a grade 2. So he's going to be up to 6 weeks on the shelf, which is really getting to the last couple weeks of the end of the season.
I think he's done.
Yeah, they're probably going to just hang him up for the year. And so anyway, those are really the only active players that are injured right now. But yeah, man, coming up, the Giants have 3 at home against the Rays this weekend, and then they go back on the road against the Padres again.
San Diego,
just streaking right now. So, I mean, the only silver lining to the Giants' pathetic performance against the Padres is that it knocked the Dodgers out of first place.
I just had the same thought. It's so sick and twisted. Like, sick and twisted. It's helping the Padres, right?
Well, I'll tell you this.
There's still an element of the Dodgers. I love that.
Yeah. Anyone but the Dodgers, right? Even the Padres. Yep. And the thing is that obviously I want the Giants to go down and sweep the Padres. That is the number one goal. I do not want them to lose to the Padres. But I will say, if at the end of the season, the Padres edge out the Dodgers by 1 or 2 games, and they just shit the bed against the Padres for the last series in this upcoming series, I'll look back and go, what are you going to do? I might not be as angry as them, losing 5 out of 7 or 6 out of 7 of the Padres down the stretch. Because, if they had won, then the Dodgers would, yeah. Anyway,
I don't hate the Padres that much. I really don't. And I actually think that I love watching them play.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Baseball all the time. They let's see. Okay, so this is it with the Padres though next week. Those four
I
in San
think
Diego
so.
next week.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it. But that would be awesome if they eked it out. Yeah, I would root for San Diego in the playoffs. I really would. I love watching Machado. I think San Diego has two Hall of Famers in Tatis Jr. and Machado. Obviously,
Yeah.
Tatis Jr. is not there yet, but I
No.
think Machado is already a Hall of Famer at this point. And I love watching him play. He's still so smooth over at third base. He still just handles himself in the box and takes pitches where he needs to. He should be in the MVP conversation this year.
Yeah.
He's really having one of those kind of years. So, I would much rather see the Padres win the division. I'd love if they could, be the second seed and they get a bye and the Dodgers
Yeah.
are forced to play, the extra series while San Diego's sitting at home chilling, setting up their pitching rotation. That would be so nice. So you're right.
That
There's
would be really nice.
little bit of the a little bit of the F the Dodgers in us still, and I love that. So yeah, if that's how it happens, that'd be great.
I did see a little article today with some stats, and the Dodgers since July 4th have the 5th worst record in the majors. The Giants actually have a better record than the Dodgers since July 4th, believe it or not. I had to look it up and do the math myself, and it's true. So yeah, the Dodgers are in a bit of a tailspin, and their fans are not happy at all. So anyway, hey, just keep losing, Dodgers. They got swept by the Angels. In fact, the Angels went 6-0 against the Dodgers this year.
Wow.
Ohtani's former team there. Yeah, so it was pretty, it was fine. In fact, Ohtani, did you see him line out into that triple play? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I went by my timeline the other day. Yeah, he gave up 4 runs to the Angels just yesterday as the starter in only 4 1/3 innings. Yeah. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, when you mentioned July 6th, or I think it was, I decided to go back July 4th. I decided to go back and look to see when Ohtani started pitching, because it really kind of felt like their season shifted when Ohtani went back on the mound. And his first appearance was this June 16th. He had 3 appearances before July 4th, and then he pitched on the 5th. But I kind of noticed that there seemed to be a shift in them, and he himself, his hitting went downhill as well. So. There's got to be some sort of correlation to that. So keep on pitching, Shohei. Maybe it'll hurt your club. I don't mind that.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Dodgers have to play a first round series. That would be fun.
That'd be great. Yeah, because I mean, unless they collapse even further, they're going to be in the playoffs. But hopefully they qualify as a wild card and have to play that first round. And if they get knocked out early, we don't have to worry about them either. So that'd be nice.
Right. That's why, because that first series is the most frenetic, chaotic. It's 2 out of 3. You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. Literally anything can happen. So, that's why I'd love to see the Dodgers get, just knocked out of our consciousness in that way. Because I think this year's playoffs is going to shape up to be a good one. We've got some fun teams going right now. Toronto, Boston's been a lot of fun. Seattle and Houston going at it back and forth. Getting Big Dumper on the main stage would be a lot of fun. You've got teams out there that have good stories. The Cubs are back in things. The Brewers just absolutely phenomenal. That's been amazing. Phillies have separated themselves a little bit because the Mets kind of tanked. But it looks like the Mets, I think, the wild card spots right now are the Cubs, the Dodgers, and it's a fight between the Mets, the Reds, and that's kind of about it. There's not much else. Where's the standings there? So it's going to be fun.
The Reds are a half game back of the Mets, who are holding the 3rd wild card spot. Like you said, the Cubs and the Dodgers in the 1 and 2 spot, respectively. There, the Cards are 3.5. Diamondbacks 4.5. They did win tonight, so now they're no longer tied with the Giants. The Giants are officially in 4th place in the National League West, and now 5 games back of that wild card spot, and only 1 game ahead of the Marlins, by the way, who are 6 back. So, yeah, I mean, we're getting to the point now, Eric, where if the Marlins pass the Giants, there will only be 4 teams worse than the Giants in the National League. Yeah, so not so good. Not so good.
I hate that, the fact that I picked them to have a losing record, but this year I'm going to get justified. But that was part of my thought process. Is I said to you guys at the beginning of the season, this team has just been middling for so long, and it just seems like it's going to be another year of that. And we got all excited with that 8-1 start, but it totally just went downhill. Not winning a month. They won't have a winning month in August either. Let's be real. No. So it's unbelievable how that can happen, and the tone and the shift. Because two months ago, we're talking about, hey, look at if they continue to play over 500 at home and they stay 500 on the road, then they're going to compete. What happens? They lose so many in a row at home and fall out of it. There's absolute correlation there. That was kind of what we said they had to do to maintain what they were doing, was just keep winning games at home. And they went in the opposite direction and did that. So it's just, that's, I think, where we're at. It's just a big sigh. But that's why these playoffs, I think they'll be fun. But I'm tired of sitting back and saying, oh, I can't wait to watch these other teams in the playoffs. I want to watch Giants playoff baseball. There's no stress like playoff baseball stress.
No, there isn't. It's a unique thing. I have to take walks when the Giants are in the playoffs. So, like we said, at least it's good for our health. You pegged the Giants with 79. I had him at 82, just above 500, and Willie had him at 88. Vegas had him, two different sites had him at 79.5 and 80.5. So they had him kind of like right above you, kind of between me and you. But you know what? I mean, they might end up, like I was saying earlier, they could be mid 70s or worse. So they might underperform even for Vegas.
I hadn't thought about that. That consideration until you said it. I was like, okay, so they are going to only win like 77, 78 games. And then when you were talking earlier about that, I'm like, oh my God, he's right. They might only win 72. They could go 72 and 90. I mean, that would be crappy. Don't lose 90 games. I mean, they're not going to lose 100, but don't lose 90. You know, that should be the rallying cry. 2020 San Francisco Giants, don't lose 90. You know, there you go. 90. I've got their motivation, right? I've got their motivation going forward. Don't lose 90.
I love it. Oh, crap. All right. Well, that's going to do for episode 321. We'll be back in a week to talk to you about 322. See how the Giants are doing. See if they've broken that losing streak at home, because they do have 3 against the Rays. Hopefully they don't continue that with a loss tomorrow night, but who knows what's going to happen. You can follow us collectively at TorchCast on Twitter, or like us over at Facebook. You can also email us at torchcast@gmail.com, or follow us individually on Twitter at ChadK21 for myself, and at 2OutHits with the number 2 for Eric. And Willie Dills is on Instagram, but he's pretty much off of the socials elsewhere right now. Anything else you have, Eric, before we sign off?
Giants chatter on Facebook.
There you go. Go have some nice conversations. Go bitch and moan with the whole. No, I'm just kidding. They don't bitch and moan. It's a good conversation.
I mean, everybody seems to be in agreement that kind of what we highlighted today is that we think Bob and management and coaching is the biggest issue right now, and that seems to be the general consensus of the chatter guys too.
Yeah, I
there's
just
a lot of
wonder about that extension, even though it wasn't signed on June 16th or 13th when they were tied with the Dodgers. I still think it might have been premature. So we'll see what happens.
I honestly, I think it was one of those things where they wanted to get Bob to relax and know that he could just guide this club, knowing he'll be back next year. And you know, they hoped the net would push him in one direction, and instead it's there to kind of catch him. I think that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, man, that'll do it for this episode. We'll see you next week for 322. Until then, go Giants. Don't lose another 6 in a row. A-boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.